top of someone's shoulders, and 2x4 is going to do this bit, you know. But in God's eyes, it's on a firm foundation. And we just walk in, and there's no danger at all. You see, in the eyes of the disciples, there was danger. They were about ready to die. In the eyes of Jesus, there was no danger at all. He had it all under control. Remember, when he's the one that told him, let's get in the boat, let's go across. He knew what was going to happen. He is God, although he is man. And so he knew it was going to happen. And so, in verse 39, before you go back, let's go back up at Philippians 4:19. It says, and my God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory in Christ Jesus. I want you to know something. The word need is not defined. Your need is different than my need. Your need is different from my need. It's the need that we need for that time. The disciples, they needed Jesus to do something about this storm. Regardless of whether or not he was a carpenter or not, they needed him to do something. So in verse 39, they cry out to him. Now here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with being fearful at times if it drives you to Jesus. If it drives you to the right person. We think sometimes that there's something wrong with our fear, something wrong, basically saying that we're weak. We can't do anything. Totally depend, we're not strong. We're supposed to be strong. Here I'm a pastor. I'm supposed to be strong. And, not supposed to have these issues. Supposed to be, perfect in all those ways. What he really wants is he wants to know how we respond to it when he steps in and helps out. And that's really the core of what the story is about, and we'll get to it in a second. Now, here he says, in verse 39, it says, he rebuked the wind. This is kind of a colorful way of saying he yelled at the wind. He yelled at the wind, and he said something. It says here, peace, be still. But in the language that's in the Greek there, it says, be gagged.
Knock it off.
Sometimes we think Jesus is just the serious guy, and, hallelujah, and I'm going to raise you up from the dead. Jesus is also, he's a funny guy too. There's some funny stuff in the Bible. There's a good one. It's like, wind, be gagged. And immediately the wind stopped. Notice how Jesus went right to the heart of the problem. What was the guy's issue? The boat was about ready to sink. They wanted him to fix the boat somehow. It's like, get the water out of here, or make it stable, or I don't know, do something. You're a carpenter. But instead, Jesus got right to the heart of the problem, and he said, wind, be still. And when the wind was still, guess what happened? The water calmed too. Now, anybody who's been on a lake knows that when the wind stops, the lake still does this, for a while. That's why we get seasick. Probably shouldn't do that too much. The point was that the wind stopped and the sea calmed. Notice how the word is used here. There was a great calm. How was the storm described? There was a great storm. And so the opposite of that is there is a great calm. Now, we have no idea how long the storm had been going on before the disciples came to him. We don't know if it was a few minutes, an hour, that they're trying to fight it. But at some point along the line, they made the decision, we're going to wake up Jesus, and he's going to help us. I don't know how he's going to help us, but he's going to help us. I think that they didn't realize that he was going to help them either. Because I think the words that they reveal here in just a few minutes, you'll see what he's trying to say. He says, Lord, do you not care that we're perishing? This is back in verse 38, I believe. Do you not care that we're perishing? We're dying here. We're about ready to die, and you're just sleeping. A little impetuous, don't you think? But then he says, peace, be still. Instead of a great storm, there's a great calm. Who else can demonstrate power over nature in this way? Up to this point, Jesus only done a little bit of teaching. He had done a little bit of healing. One kid actually raised from the dead. That was kind of cool. Turned some water into wine. Done a couple of things, and pretty cool guy. He seems like a good teacher. But all of a sudden, he stands up in this boat that's all over the place, and he tells the wind to shut up, and the water calms down, and the disciples are like, not sure this is what we were expecting, but it's kind of cool, but, I'd be a little afraid. I don't know about you. So go to verse 40. It says, here's a teachable moment. Remember, Jesus has been teaching all day long in parables. Remember, the idea of parables is he tells the truth, hidden, and then he explains it later on. Think about this story as another parable. They don't understand the purpose of it, but he teaches them something nonetheless. So this is just another parable, but done in a physical way. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that we have as 2020 vision. We look back and say, you guys know that you do have God in the boat with you, right? God's in the boat with you. But of course, did they know he was God then? Probably not. Maybe they had some suspicions, but the reality is that they didn't realize who he really was. You see, in our world, we have people who believe one thing or another. We have people who are theists. They believe in a God that's involved in their everyday life. He watches over you. He takes care of you. He counts the number of hairs on your head. And then there are those who believe in God that's like, he made everything, and now he's just sitting back up in heaven, kind of watching things, just, making sure everything's going okay. He might step in every once in a while, but that's the deist. Now, we as Christians, we should be theists. We should believe that God's involved in our everyday life, but sometimes we act like we're deists. Like, God, we have to raise our hand. God, hello, I'm here. I need your help. God is always there. You see, that's really the heart of what this passage is all about. You see, we can either live in a life of fear and chaos, or we can live in the realm of God's divine care. And that's really the point of this story. The purpose is to reveal that God is indeed always there, and we're in his presence, even when we don't know it. So in verse 41 it says, and they feared exceedingly. Do you guys understand what's happening in the story? They just went through this very spectacular event, and you'd think that if you'd gone through this, you would say, woo, I've learned a lot today. They learned nothing. Think about that. They didn't learn a thing. Instead of being fearful before, they were now exceedingly fearful. They were more afraid now than they were before. They're thinking, who's this guy? He just spoke to the wind and it stopped, and he talked and the water just went calm. I'm like, we've never seen this before. This is kind of scary. They're fearful. And they ask the question, who is this man? Who can this be? That he can do these sort of things. The only time we've heard about that is my mom and dad told me stories about God who created everything, and he spoke the wind into existence, and he spoke the waters into existence. That's the only time I've ever heard a story like this, except maybe when, Moses put a stick in the water and it split up. And those little things, when I was a kid, I heard these stories, but now I'm seeing it in real life. Like, this is a little scary. And wouldn't you be if you're in their shoes? This story is solely centered on the person of Jesus. And everyone who reads the story must answer this question. Who is this man? Now, you can either be afraid of the situation, or you can be afraid of the one who's going to bring solution to the situation. Which one are you going to be? Are you going to be in more awe of the situation he brought you through, or in more awe of the person he is and how he did it? Because sometimes we think about all the times that we had the rough times, and we think, okay, he got us through it, and we just kind of move on, and not realizing, God did that for me. He cared so much that he did that for me. Life does not depend on whether or not we have enough faith or whether or not we have enough belief. God's always in control. Go to the next slide, if you would, please. He cares despite our appreciation, even if we don't say thank you. He cares despite our belief. He cares despite our fears, our knowledge, even our response, or even our situation. Somehow we think that God only acts when we say it's okay. Okay, God, you can do it now. Good job. Way to go. And somehow we have this idea that God needs our agreement or our acknowledgement that he can do what he wants to do. And that's just not true. He'll do it no matter what. Even when we don't acknowledge who he is. Even when we don't realize the situation that just happened. But here's the funny thing. We still get annoyed when we get into bad situations and he doesn't respond right away. We're like, God, come on! What's going on? I'm kind of going through that right now. Friday was my last day of work. I haven't been without a job in 43 years. And so on Monday, I started a new adventure. I don't know where I'm going to work, what I'm going to do.
Honeydews.
Yeah, she'll keep me busy around the house, but I do need to make money. So it's a new adventure for me. I have no idea. Even though I'm not quite sure Jesus is in my boat with me, the story shows he is. So how am I going to respond to it? What am I going to do? When the storms come, and God guides us through the storm, are we more awed by the storm or by the God who calmed the storm? If you close your eyes, let's pray. Father, you've left us with a question that the disciples asked, one that we almost answer in our own life. We see what you have done, what you can do. We've seen it in our own life. Somehow we still struggle. We still doubt. That's why I'm all the more grateful that it doesn't matter. You still care for us. You're still in the boat with us. You watch over us. You bring calm when there's a great storm in our life. We ask you now to do that. And Father, for those who have not made that decision yet on who you are, I ask now that you reveal yourself to him right now, or to her, and show them that you are the God that loves and cares for them, and that the storm that they're in now, the struggle that they're going through now, can and will be resolved. Because you do it, not us. I'm so grateful for you, so grateful for the care and the love that you show us, and we always know that you're there, even when we can't believe it. Help us, strengthen us. We love you for your will and what you do. In your holy name we pray. Amen. So, Frontier Church, disciples left us with a question. Who is this man? Who is he to you? I'm going to ask Ray to come up, if you would, to take care of some announcements and so forth. And then we got something else at the very end that we'd like to do, so please hang around. We do have something we'd like to do as school is about ready to start.